Right, this is every question one of all the pure papers. So the curve has this equation, y equals 3x to the power 4 minus 8x cubed minus 3. Find dy dx. So we just multiply by the power and decrease the power by 1. So that's 12x cubed minus 24x squared. The second derivative, same process, multiply the power minus the power by 1. So that's 36x squared minus 48x. Verify that C has a stationary point when x equals 2. Generally you should state that's when dy dx equals 0. So 0 equals 12x cubed, this is B, minus 24x squared. What's the highest factor in both? Take out 12x squared, so 0 equals 12x squared, and that's going to just give us x minus 2. So x equals 0, x equals 2, that's confirmed. C, we use a second derivative with x equals 2, so equals, show yourself substituting that in, minus 48 times 2, which I believe equals 48, which is greater than 0. It's greater than 0. Therefore, it is a minimum point. Nice. That should be 7 out of 7 for your first question. Now look at this next question one. Given that theta is small and measured in radians, use a small angle approximation to find an approximate value of this question here. Well, now you need to remember these small angle approximations. So sine theta is equivalent to theta, or approximately, and tan theta is approximately theta, and cos theta is approximately 1 minus theta squared over 2. So we can use this information. So if we think cos 4 theta, and we substitute the 4 theta like so, that's got to be approximately to 1 4 theta squared over 2. Now sine 3 theta must be approximately 3 theta. That's all we need to do this question. We can substitute this in, so let's sub these in. So you can get 1 minus 4 theta squared over 2. Now I should simplify that here to 1 minus 16 theta squared over 2, which is 1 minus 8 theta squared. Okay, all over 2 theta times 3 theta. Now we know 1 minus 1 cancels out, minus and the minus is going to be a positive, so we're going to get left with 8 theta squared over 6 theta squared. So that simplifies to 8 over 6 and then 4 over 3. That's really anchor 3 marks if you remember the small approximations. Right, so we have f of x equals 3x cubed plus 2ax squared minus 4x plus 5a. Now given that x plus 3 is a factor of f of x, find the value of constant a. So that means we know, using the factor theorem, that f minus 3 equals 0, which is the factor theorem. Let's substitute that all in. Do show yourself substituting it in. So 3 minus 3 cubed plus 2a minus 3 squared minus 4 times minus 3 plus 5a equals 0. Make sure you get your negatives correct. That's going to be plus 18a minus plus 12 plus 5a equals 0. Now, let's simplify that to get 23a minus 69 equals 0, and then we can see that a is going to equal 3. And that's a very nice question to have right there. Right, let's look at this one. Find the first terms, 4 terms in ascending powers of x. The binomial expansion of 1 plus 8x to the power half. Now I've written here how we would write the 4 terms, and it would follow this pattern in case you ask for another term. So the first term is 1. Plus a half 8x, let's put that in a bracket, plus a half times minus a half times minus a half times 8x squared, 8x all squared, and that's over 2 factorial, which is 2, plus the 4th term. It's going to be a half times minus a half times minus 3 over 2 times 8x cubed all over 3 factorial, which is 6. So those are the 1, 2, 3, 4 terms. We need to simplify that, and we'll get 1 plus 4x minus 8x squared plus 32x cubed. Nice. And part B, explain how you could use x equals 1 over 32 in the expansion. Find an approximation for root 5. So you would use square root of 1 plus 8 1 over 32, which simplifies to the square root of 1 plus 1 over 4, which would equal 5 over 4. So that equals the square root of 5 over the square root of 4, which equals root 5 over 2. Now if you substitute 1 over 32 as you find out this, then we double the answer. Double the answer of 1 over 32, we would get an estimate. For root 5. Now, if they'd asked you to actually carry out this calculation, what that means is you would substitute x equals 1 over 32 into your 1 plus 4x minus 8x squared plus 32x cubed. So let x equals 1 over 32, and then whatever your answer is, you double it. Now they're asking that given that 2 to the power x times 4 to the power y equals this, express y as a function of x. So like just sort of like just saying make y the subject. make y the subject. Now, that's a power of 2. This could be made into a power of 2, and that could be made into a power of 2 as well. So if we make this 2 to the x times 2 to the power of 2y, because 2 squared is 4, you can make that equal 1 over, and split that up to 2 times 2 to the half. Now, if you think about laws of indices, if that's 2 to the 1 times 2 to the half, that's 1 over 2 to the 3 over 2. So if we think about that, that's actually 2 to the power, we do the reciprocal, not the reciprocal, but actually equals 2 to the power of minus 3 over 2. And we have 2 to the x add 2 y's. Remember, we add the powers. We add powers when the bases are the same. Now we've got something we can work with. That means x plus 2y must equal minus 3 over 2. So we just rearrange that. So we get 2y equals minus 3 over 2 minus x divided by 2. So we just divide that all by 2. 3 over 2 minus x all over 2. Can we make that look a little bit nicer? Yes, we can. Y equals minus 2 divided by 2 minus 3 over 4 minus x over 2, and then we're done. Okay, so for this question here, we're finding GG of 5, so all we need to do is really let x equals 5. We're going to just perform this function twice. So substitute the 5 in, 2 times 5 plus 5 over 5 minus 3. That's going to give us 7.5. So we need to do g of 7.5, do the same thing, 2 times 7.5 plus 5 and 7.5 minus 3. Now do that all on your calculator, and that's going to equal 40 over 9. That's part A done. Part B, state the range of G. When x equals 5, we know that that equals 7.5. Now, as x increases, so as x increases, g of x gets closer to 2. Now let's explain that. If you think about it, when x equals 10, g of x will become 25 over 7, which is 3.57. Now if we let x equals a really big number, x equals 1000, you're going to get 2005 over 997, which equals 2.011. So you can imagine as x gets larger, this function is going to just get closer to 2x over x, and the plus 5 and minus 3 aren't going to matter so much. So this answer would be, the range of gx would be 2 to the gx and 7.5. and this is as x approaches infinity, that's when that is 2, so that's why we have that sign there. So how will we do this? We're going to do C, so if y equals 2x plus 5, x minus 3, then we're going to let x equals 2y plus 5, y minus 3, and that's going to get us to x y minus 3 equals 2y plus 5. Now we're going to get xy minus 3x equals 2y plus 5. We're going to bring all the y's together. So we're going to get xy minus 2y equals 3x plus 5. Factorise the y out. Y over x minus 2 equals 3x plus 5. So y equals 3x plus 5 divided by x minus 2. And as you can see, x can't equal 2 here either, and that will be the domain. Now another lovely question 1. So now another lovely question 1, which has to be a banker. We have f of x equals 2x cubed minus 5x squared plus a to x plus a. So we've got to use the factor theorem. Use the factor theorem. And that means when x equals minus 2, f of x equals 0. So f minus 2 equals 0, and we just substitute that all in. So 2 times minus 2 cubed minus 5 times minus 2 squared plus ax plus a equals 0, and we're going to get minus 36 minus 2a plus a equals 0. And we simplify that, and we're going to get a equals minus 36. That's completed. Okay, so this is integration using the trapezium rule. Now here's the formula below. You can see it here. And you just need to apply this so it is some nice marks. Now, we haven't learnt this yet, but we'll go over it soon. So, the h is the difference between here, what the x is going up by. So that is h equals 0.5. So for part A, it's going to be 0.5, and that's a half h, so over 2 times this is the y0 here, 0.5774, add 2 times, that's your y1, y2, y3, and that's kind of like your yn, which is y4 in this instance. So plus 2 times 0.7071 plus 0.7746 plus your 0.8165, close that bracket, plus 0.8452, and you just work that out on your calculator, and that equals 1.50475, which equals 1.50 to 3 significant figures, as the question asked that. Now part B, use your answer to deduce an estimate for 9x. So the difference here and here is that this bit has been multiplied by root 9, and if you think about it, if you do surds, root 5 times root 4 equals root 5 times 4, so that's why it's root 9. So B, so root 9x over 1 plus x is the same as root 9 times root x over 1 plus x. Now root 9 equals 3, so that's 3 root x over 1 plus 2. So you'll just triple your answer in part B. So 1.50475 times 3 equals to 4 significant figures, so 4.514. No, deduce an estimate, so that's part B. The next part is that, so that's 4.51 to 2 3 significant figures. Now part C, now remember that's actually 4.51425. Now part C, 4.535 is close to 4.51, so therefore the estimate is quite accurate. And if you obviously split it into smaller strips, it will become more accurate. Well, that's every question one.